The question. We had been together 4 months when Chike asked me the question that would change everything, though I did not know it was changing anything at the time. It was a Sunday afternoon in February, the kind of gray and still Sunday that Chicago does better than any city in the world. We were sitting in my apartment, a pot of jolly rice cooling on the stove, and Chike was quiet, in the way he sometimes got quiet, internally, somewhere behind his eyes. "Sandra," he said without looking up from the table, would you ever consider marrying someone like me?" I put down the magazine I was pretending to read and looked at him. He was still not looking at me, tracing invisible shapes on the table with one finger. "What do you mean, someone like you?" He exhaled slowly. Then he told me. He was on a student visa. Once his studies were completed, 18 months from now if everything went to plan, he would be required to return to Nigeria unless he had another pathway to remain in the country legally. He had looked into the options. An employer sponsorship was possible but not guaranteed in his field. A green card lottery was a long shot. The most certain route was marriage to an American citizen. He raised his eyes then and looked at me directly. "I am not asking you to do anything," he said. "I'm asking if you would ever consider it. With me. Because how I feel about you is real, Sandra. It has nothing to do with visas or documents. I want you to know that." I looked at him for a long time. He did not flinch or look away. There was no performance in his face, no calculation I could detect. Only a kind of naked honesty that I found, and still find, very hard to fake. "I would consider it," I said finally. He nodded once, as if I had confirmed something he already believed. Then he reached across the table and held my hand, and we sat in the gray Sunday quiet, and the jollof rice went entirely cold, and neither of us mentioned it for another 6 weeks. When he brought it up again, it was properly not a conversation over a cold pot of rice, but a careful, deliberate proposal. He had saved for a ring, a modest but real diamond on a thin gold band, and he went down on one knee in the same corridor where we had first met because he said he wanted the beginning of our story and the next chapter of it to share the same geography. There were students walking past. Some stopped, someone clapped. I was crying before he had finished speaking. "Sandra Days Williams," he said. He always used all 3 of my names when he was being serious. "You are the most remarkable woman I have ever known. Will you be my wife?" "Yes," I said. "Obviously, yes." He laughed, and the laugh was so full and so real that I felt it in my chest. He slid the ring onto my finger and stood and kissed me there in the corridor while strangers clapped around us, and I was absolutely certain, I thought that this was the beginning of a life I had been waiting for, without knowing I was waiting. We married 6 months later in a small civil ceremony. His side of the room held only 2 friends from the department and a professor who had taken a liking to him. My family flew in from Atlanta. My mother wept throughout the entire service and told him afterward that he had a good face, by which she meant she trusted him. My mother, who had read every person correctly her entire life, told Chike Obiora that he had a good face. I have never stopped thinking about that.